no matter how committed you are to your fitness, there will always be the inevitable time where you just can't quite commit the amount of time that you would like to due to all of the other responsibilities that you have going on in your life. This could be maybe you have kids, you're starting a business, your job is requiring more of you, or maybe you just have other family obligations where you might have to put other people or other things first and put some of your own interests on the back burner. However, we don't want to let that be an excuse to at least not put in some sort of work and go backwards from all the work that we've already put in building the body that we are ultimately all going after. I mean, hell, maybe you've been on your fitness journey for a very long time and you've been going to the gym a lot, but you're just stressed the hell out because you feel like you've neglected other areas of your life. For me, I know there was a period where in my relationship, I was dedicating so much time to my job and to the gym that I kind of started neglecting other areas of it. Unfortunately, my partner's super understanding and she was like, we were able to kind of talk things through. But, a lot of this neglecting other areas of our life can lead us into like this, mental turmoil because we want to improve our health and we want to improve our physique, but we're unsure of like exactly how we can still get the best bang for our buck with the limited time that we have. Like we know that stress outside of the gym hurts our ability to recover properly. And we also know that we shouldn't neglect sleep just for the sake of getting a workout in. So what becomes the most important thing that we have to do is getting the most out of the time that we have available to us. And this is something that I don't see a lot of other fitness coaches or fitness influencers talking about, is this idea of having a plan when things go south, having a damage controlled plan and strategy in place. So about a year and a half ago, I had a period like this, kind of like I'd mentioned, where I was starting a new job. Me and my girlfriend were moving to a different city, and I was still trying to start like business or start something on the side just to see what would work. And I had a lot going on, and I just felt kind of shitty because I knew that I couldn't give my fitness the attention that I wanted to without neglecting other areas of my life, especially because like I love this shit, right? I love going to the gym. I love training hard. So as I was going through this period, I really had to figure out a good way to still get some sort of result, or at least not go backwards, all with only about 4 to at most 5 hours a week of gym commitment. So for the sake of this video, we're going to use the constraint of you have 4 total hours a week and 3 days to actually go to the gym and spend maybe about roughly an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes in the gym. So I'm going to give you the entire model that I use to maximize results when I'm limited on time. So there's a few things though that I need to lay out and a couple caveats with this so people can kind of understand. This isn't about being optimal, and this isn't about, pushing things to the absolute limit and growing as much as humanly possible. This is about maintaining a certain level of effectiveness, and it's not going to be about getting the most out of everything. It's just going to be about getting the most out of what we have available. So, number 2, repeatability in everything is important. We want as few variables changing as possible so that we can consistently see results and only change a couple things at a time. So we want to limit the amount of decisions that we have to make regarding our training and nutrition. And the fewer variables that we have, the better. And this is going to free up a bunch of mental space so you don't suffer from decision fatigue, so you're better able to manage stress that comes outside of the gym, and so you can also make better decisions in life. Because if we won't be training in the 100% most optimal way, then at least we want to make our recoverability the best that we can. And most of that comes from sleep and stress management. So it may not be your ideal split, but it will be manageable and you can plug and play things where they need to go so that you still enjoy it on some level. So now that we have the constraints out of the way, let's take a look at what our training is going to look like. So our split for this is going to be a whole body split with specifically antagonistic supersets, which is basically a superset where the exercises are either in opposite muscle groups or at least the former is not going to drastically affect the performance of the latter. So, superset 1, we're going to do a leg press. All rep ranges are going to be the 8 to 12 rep range. You want to take these close to failure. Ideally, I would say either 2 sets to absolute failure or the 3 sets where the first 2 sets are 1 rep left in the tank, and then the third set being to absolute failure. But we're going to do a leg press exercise, rest 45 seconds, and then complement that with a horizontal pull. So this could be a leg press, squat, hack squat, Smith machine, rest 45, then do a horizontal pull, so a dumbbell row, barbell row, machine row, and then we're going to rest 2 minutes. The 2 minutes is crucial because we are still trying to get enough of a stimulus out of these exercises while also remaining efficient on time. So the key here is make sure you're getting your rest so you can continue to push all of those sets. Next, we're going to do a horizontal press, so like a bench press, machine press, something along those lines, rest 45, then do a hamstring curl. And if you don't have a hamstring curl machine, this is where you could do something like a hip hinge, so an RDL, a stiff leg deadlift. If you're really feeling froggy, then do some deadlifts, but just understand the amount of fatigue that is probably going to come with that. Then we're going to do a vertical press into a vertical pull, so dumbbell shoulder press, machine press, barbell presses, vertical pulls being lat pull downs, pull-ups, something like that. I just forgot to put it in here, but you get the idea. And then at the end, we're going to do a tricep isolation exercise for 45 seconds, and then a biceps isolation exercise, followed by the 2-minute rest. All rep ranges are going to be the same here, and all rest times, everything else is going to be the same. Now, feel free to add whatever exercise you want based on the body part you're going after. Just don't ever do something like a horizontal press followed by a tricep isolation exercise because you're already going to have exhausted the triceps through the pressing motion. So just keep that in mind. You don't want something that is going to affect your performance on the following exercise. Now, the time estimate of this, I estimated roughly anywhere between 35 and 45 minutes. I basically took into account like a set taking roughly 30 seconds, might take more. 45 minutes is probably on the high end on this, and that's if you stay pretty strict with the rest times. But even if you needed to rest a little bit more, that does leave a little bit of wiggle room because we still want to maximize our hypertrophy by adding enough stimulus and being able to provide enough mechanical tension through a lift in order to get results. So I hope all of this made sense. If you need any other clarity, just leave a question in the comments and I'd be happy to answer. Now that we have a training structure, just a couple of other important notes. Whenever it comes to daily activity, we still want to be trying to just go after the benchmark of 10K steps. Normally, I'm going to be one that recommends try to get at a minimum of 20 minutes of walking a day. In an ideal world, if you can, 30 to 45 minutes. Honestly, I usually say, if you can get about 2 miles of a nice brisk walk in, that's going to be, at least based on calorie tracking stuff and roughly between 100 to 200 calories. It's going to be different for everybody, but just a good goal is to have 10K steps. And that's a pretty standard. And I think it's pretty easy to do if you just, take a couple of 10-minute walks here and there throughout the day. Now we have to look at our nutrition. How are we going to structure our nutrition? Now, everything should stay pretty much the same as it was before in terms of whatever your goal is. So if you're trying to lose body fat, let's make sure that you're in anywhere from a 300 calorie deficit to a 500 calorie deficit, because the more that you drop below that, the more stressful you're going to be just because you're going to be hangry all the time. I am not me whenever I'm hungry, just like the Snickers commercial. So make sure that you're not putting too much stress on your body in terms of not giving it enough energy. And that's where a lot of the walking and stuff comes in too, because you can mitigate some of that through increasing activity. Whenever it comes to eating as much as you need to for your goals, you also want to think about saving time. So you will need to either A, meal prep yourself 1 day a week, B, use a meal prep service, or buy prepackaged foods that don't have a ton of extra stuff. So like Greek yogurt cups, Costco has some like packaged rice that's pretty good. Just remember, it's not about being optimal. And this isn't necessarily going to be a phase in your life where, you're eating everything 100% healthy all the time. But just keep in mind, if you still want to stick to your goals, using things like that can help mitigate some of the stress of having to actually cook the food every night is going to help tremendously. Now, the goal with your nutrition is you want to repeat as many meals as you can. And I mean, I'm talking like two of your meals throughout the day, if you're eating like three, even four, they need to be the exact same meals in terms of portions, calories amount, and even like the base food that you're eating, with the only variation really coming from seasonings or maybe low to zero calorie sauces. So what do I mean by this? Every single day I have a beef and rice meal and a chicken and rice meal. Now, where the variability comes in is one day I might do an Asian meal where I add, soy sauce, sesame seasonings, sriracha, stuff like that. And then, or I might do like a taco type meal. So I do, Mexican seasonings with the rice with maybe some sort of low calorie like crema sauce or something like that. The reason that we want to do this is because we want to limit the amount of decisions that we have to make throughout the day so that we can save up that decision making for other areas of our life and make better decisions elsewhere so that we're not letting our fitness necessarily affect how we are doing in our day-to-day life. Because remember, this period of time for you is probably a damage control period where we still want to make some progress, but what we really are trying to avoid is going backwards. Because this whole journey of building a body that you're proud of, building muscle, the goal is to keep playing as long as possible and to try to mitigate how often we go backwards so that we can consistently make sure that we're moving forwards. So this is where when you're inevitably faced with a decision by repeating meals, by eating the same things you are going to come across a situation where something else is going to be more convenient. You're going to get asked to go out to dinner. You're going to get asked to have, some of the extra donuts or pizza or whatever at work. Whatever the thing is, you're going to be faced with the situation like that. And by mitigating the amount of decisions that you have to make, like what am I going to eat, you are going to have the mental bandwidth to be able to decide that eating the theoretical cake is worth it or not. And that's what we're trying to do with this strategy. Take out as many decisions as possible so that we can make the better decision whenever we are faced with those challenging situations. So I hope this video helped you if you are going through something like this. Feel free to leave any other comments if you have any other questions on anything. But other than that, until next time, peace.